Hello everyone, welcome back to our Maui no Koi Toastmasters channel if you've been here before, and if not, welcome. This is one of the Zoom talk series video, another one. These are series where we talk about Zoom experiences, having Toastmasters meeting on Zoom, and we're talking to different members of our club, and today we're talking to Tricia. Welcome, Tricia. Hi. I want to start like I do with all the members and all these videos. Could you tell us how long you've been in Toastmasters, and also what was the main reason, goal you joined Toastmasters to begin with?
I joined Toastmasters. I probably have been in Toastmasters over 25 years. When I first joined, I was a human resources officer for a bank, and I was responsible for management trainees, and they had a Toastmasters club. So since management trainees fell underneath me, that's how I got involved with Toastmasters. But I realized I really enjoyed it, and it helped me with my public speaking skills. I left that organization, and then I realized I missed it. And eventually I had a roommate who English was her second language. And she invited me to a Toastmasters meeting, and that's how it started all over again. So I have been through the many different changes with Toastmasters International. And each one has been a learning experience, but then you see the growth and the reason behind it afterwards, especially when they move on to something else, especially during this pandemic where we couldn't be meeting normally, but thank God for Zoom.
Oh, that was going to be my next question. Since you've been in Toastmasters for such a long time, how does this change us being on Zoom? Fits in with all the other changes that you have experienced in Toastmasters, or how it doesn't fit in, how maybe completely different it is, just based on your experience all these years in Toastmasters?
I think the one thing when we think about speeches and when someone's giving us speeches, does it touch our heart? Does it invoke an emotion to us? And when you can do that over Zoom, you now really have a powerful tool. Because I think Zoom is going to be here to stay, whether it's in Toastmasters, in a professional setting. I think our new normal going forward for a lot of different organizations are going to be very different, because now we've realized we can telecommunicate. People can work from home. People have gotten that. But especially with Toastmasters, a lot of people have learned to travel around the world and borrow from different clubs around the world. And when you can invoke emotion through a little box and you can touch someone's heart, you have learned a powerful skill. Of course, there's some people that says, oh, I don't want to do this if I can't meet in person. Well, you might be holding your breath for a long time, because certain things are changing. I mean, I know for a fact that our district, District 49, gained over 500 new members when people switched to being on Zoom. Because sometimes people, they know the value of a Toastmasters club, of what it can do for them, but they don't have that time. You know, we have to think, getting into a car, driving to some location. Here, they can open up their laptop. It's like, ooh, 11, 12 to 1. I can squeeze that in. Boom, they're there.
Yeah.
And to me, this is a whole new stage. And it's giving you the opportunity to take all the skills if you're a more experienced Toastmaster. And even if you're a new Toastmaster, it's giving you a new stage to work on.
And I have mentioned it in conversations with other members, how we had the pathways, which was one of the really big changes. But we had like 2 years time to get do it. With Zoom, we got dropped in it pretty much overnight. There was no preparation. There was not even talk about something like this happening. We got dropped in it. But then now that we have had this experience with meetings online, I think it will be hard, if not impossible, to go back to just being in person. As nice and great and awesome as it is, as personal as it is, because this has opened up basically the whole world for everybody. And it would be kind of like knowing there's so much more out there, but being just in the group of like 10, 20 people, and that's it. We just got dropped into a future in a way. Even if there was no such thing as pandemic, everything has already been going towards more technology.
I think this, being on Zoom or being on any type of platform, actually gives you a better workout. You're working out your vocal variety. I mean, and if you want, you can even ask someone to record it for yourself, so you see those type of things. And when the feedback, you're not only getting your evaluator's feedback, you're getting feedback from other people. And you know, we're here on Maui, and we got people in Germany, which is thousands and thousands and thousands. I mean, I know just to California, it's over 3,000 miles. So the fact that you can invoke emotion, and feelings from someone clear across the world. And I've been having the luxury, because with Hawaii Speakers Bureau, we've been tapping into the talent that we have in Toastmasters International from around the world. And it's all been like asking someone, hey, can you come and give a 20-minute presentation to our club? And when we're talking about Lance Miller, who's the 2006 world champion of public speaking, we've got Kelly Swanson, who's been a humorist champ. We've had all these people in it. Not at one time have they said, well, this is my fee. They want to share. And I think we've moved into a different direction where it's so much easier now to share. And it's not just one person. You know, usually when we've made these invites, we end up with like 100 people wanting to come and hear the speakers. So they're meeting a broader audience. They're touching more people. And that's the thing, is you're touching more people. You're growing your getting over being a public speaker and public speaking in a more safe environment. You're more comfortable with it. And eventually when you feel stronger, you can walk away from this and start playing with not being so confined, learning to stand up. There's so many new tools that anytime I see something about, oh, learn how to use Zoom more effectively, free, I click on it now, because it's only helping me, and then I can then share that information with my club as well. So, was I a big fan of Zoom at first? I had trepidation. It was something unknown, like you're saying. We were just dropped into it. And now I kind of look at it. I don't know how my life would be without it. For those that who don't know, I'm a breast cancer survivor. 3 years. And I paid it forward by being a mentor to newly diagnosed breast cancer patients in Kaiser. And we were like, how do we meet with them? Hello, thank God for Zoom. And before, sometimes it would be a lot over the phone. We would have a once-a-month meeting. But now having Zoom, that gives a whole nother layer. And people don't feel alone. So for me, Zoom has been a lifesaver, not only to help expand my Toastmasters experience, it's helped expand my personal life and my personal growth as well.
Yeah, like lots of positives hearing. Now, however, there's always something that, not to focus on it, but to acknowledge. There's always also some downsides to all positives, usually. What would you say that us Toastmasters meeting on Zoom, what is a downside to it?
Well, I think sometimes we need to still remember protocol. You know, if someone's speaking, mute yourself. If we feel that if someone is going to tell us my connection isn't so great, anyone who doesn't have a speaking role, mute yourself, stop your video to help increase the bandwidth for that person. And sometimes we just need to remember that even though we're on Zoom, we still only have 1 hour. That it's still fitting in that time frame. And if you can't remember when your meetings are, create a calendar for yourself, you know, and put notes. Put it on your phone. I know there's some people that want to keep on making excuses. Oh, I can't do this. This isn't for me. And that's their choice. My biggest thing with Zoom was protocol of if someone else has got the floor and they're talking, mute yourself, just like how we would be in a meeting, the same protocol. We wouldn't talk, if Regina's giving a speech, I wouldn't be talking during her speech to somebody else or playing on my cell phone if we're meeting in person. So some of those rules still apply. And I think people think that on Zoom we don't know. And if you have to do something else, then stop your video. And then come back on when you have to. I mean, you and I both have cats, and I can tell you how many times my cats decide to come and chew in the cords and want to want to photobomb. They want to be part of the meeting too. So I've just always learned that hurt them, throw them somewhere else. And I let my significant other know when I'm having a meeting, so he's not surprised in coming in. But I think for the most part, the negatives do not outweigh the positives. I think you're learning a whole new marketable skill. And what I always tell people is, oh, but I'm not getting paid to do this. And I said, but you've learned a new skill. It's a marketable skill that if you're having to be looking for a job or other things, it's something that you can. And the other thing I would do is don't have meetings that if you can't, don't Toastmaster meeting surf all day, because you will kind of overwhelm yourself. And don't compare yourselves to others. We're each with individuals. We have individual strengths and weaknesses. And if you like what somebody really does, send them a private message. Hey, how did you really accomplish this? Would you mind working with me on that? And you know, in our club, we're always open to helping each other's develop and share secrets and tips with them. So I think the positives really outweigh more than negatives.
Now, you've mentioned it. Me as a member, I know that too, how we have had guests from different parts of the world, from different states. Have you visited any other clubs?
Yes, I have. I visited some of my, they're all within our district, but there's the clubs that I hadn't been a part of for quite a while. And it was nice to see that they had continued on their growth. Some things have changed. I have gone to some clubs in California, some clubs in Iowa, Chicago, and I did go to a club in Italy that happened to be English speaking. And the funny thing is, like, well, have you been to Italy? I go, no, my dad has. They go, well, what did he bring back? And I showed him a marbled glass ashtray. And they're like, we don't produce that anymore. And so it was an interesting, it's like, well, so when it came for table topics, they called upon me. Why did your father come to Italy? And I talked about when he graduated from college, he went on a backpacking trip clear across Europe. And for every place where he went, he bought one thing. Mm-hmm. And literally, he only traveled with a backpack. So I am happy. And then the funny thing was, they said my dad was a Toastmaster too. So they got a kick about that. So, it's been making new friends across the world through Toastmasters. And I think that's what's been interesting, to the point where even going back to our district, we got invites from another district for people to help. They're already working on training their officers starting in November for the new round. And they're going, well, we decided to open it up to other districts, because I think we've all seen it when we go to training, we know it's the same people, we don't want to show up. And they're trying to spice it up by bringing trainers in from other states and other districts. So I think that, if anything, we're starting to strengthen our membership worldwide, and we're strengthening the relationships between other districts, because we realize we really are one organization with one mission, and we might as well start sharing the wealth of knowledge that we have with each other in each district.
Expansion. What I'm hearing from you is like a lot of expansion for Toastmasters. This has brought in many ways. Was there something that really surprised you in a big way?
I guess I wasn't surprised, but it's the way that you've touched people. You get people that, I give speeches about what I want to talk about. Whether it's running a garage sale, doing certain things. And, then people send you these little, you have your evaluation, but then it's like someone will type you a private message. I really needed to hear your message today. Thank you. And I guess I wasn't, because we've done that where we would write messages to people when we were in person, but I guess I wasn't expecting that from guests. I think what I was more surprised about was that we gained members as a district, that people were really more enthralled with the online aspect, the Zoom aspect of the meeting. The fact, I think I was more surprised that out of all the districts in our region, we were the one that came in number one. We met all of our goals. We didn't meet just our DCP goals for a club. We met the DCP goals set for us as a district, which in a pandemic and being in that was just, everyone kind of pulled forward. Everyone didn't. I mean, we know no Koi means the best. We always usually are 10 of 10. But to see that the whole district kind of like buckled down, got together, and said, we're going to do this. That was kind of surprising, and gaining new members. You don't hear of organizations gaining members during a pandemic. You hear of them losing, but
I found it to be very interesting that in general, there are things that can good things that can come out of something like this pandemic, and it applies also to Toastmasters as well. Now, is there something you miss from meetings in person?
I miss some of the social interaction. Come on, we're here in Hawaii where we hug,
Cookies.
Oh yeah, and my cookies
Snacks.
And my cupcakes and my snacks that I make. But I just miss being able to have that social interaction because one of the reasons when I moved to Maui was I needed to make sure there was a Toastmasters club. Because then I knew I could get introduced to the community. And for me, my Toastmasters club has become like a second family. So for me, but also at the same time, I have a compromised immunity system. There's different things where I have to be careful of when I go out, who I go with, who I even let into my home, because Jake's got heart problems. So we have to kind of balance out. And we know eventually we will be seeing people and we will be able to hug, and I can make snacks and cookies and pumpkin bread and give it to people. Those things I have missed, but at the same time, I realize there is a greater good. I don't always like following rules, but in this case, we kind of have to. I think I talked about one of my speeches about writing notes to people, writing a letter. So I wrote a letter to my cousin. I said, okay, you've got to finish the letter. You've got to write some pages, mail it to the next cousin. And it took 3 months, but the letter got back to me. But it went through 10 families.
Wow.
And it ended up becoming a notebook. And then I sent it to my dad. My dad called me crying because I think, they're saying it's like, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If life gives you cherries, make cherry pie. And I'm not making light, as you said, of, people, we've had a loss of life. And everyone's resources have been stretched to the point. And then, of course, we got the political campaigns going on that I think everyone's like, they're over it. But when you can find the joy, the reconnections, maybe we needed this wake-up call of slow down, smell the coffee, smell the flowers, enjoy the sunshine. Racing off to that next meeting, is that really worth it? We need to really come back to basics. But I think basics, meeting on Zoom has become a very much basic in our everyday life going forward.
Is there anything, now that we're coming to the end of our conversation, is there something that you feel I didn't ask but is important to say, maybe about Zoom experience, or maybe to encourage people to visit, to join, or to try something or something?
Visit as many clubs as you can on Zoom. Find the right one. You're going to find it. Every club has their own unique personality and feeling. And if you don't feel a connection, go visit another club. Or I always tell people when we get in that in person, having been the former VP of membership, come twice, come 3 times. Feel it out that you feel comfortable. And if you want a mentor too, which I'm a mentor, because we don't just throw you to the wolves when you join and go, this is what you do. You're going to get a mentor. And think about, you're going to see all these faces and you're going to start seeing personalities come through. Who would you want to be your mentor? Not them assign you one. Who would you want? Then go ask that person. I'm going to join, but I want to know if you'll be my mentor. In that way, and be invested in it. I always say, give your first speech in 1 month, and you're going to go, oh, I can't do that. In Toastmasters, all your speeches are really about yourself. It's about your life story. Something got you to this point where you wanted to go click in about Toastmasters. That means you have a story to tell, and it's locked inside. And we're just going to give you the tools and the keys to help open that up so you can find your voice and speak.